Happy Homage Friday, Vault. Welcome inside the Vault for a Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. It is December 27th. I'm Bobby Trossett, as always, joined alongside Sarah Ellison. Partner, good to see you. We're closing down a week. This is strange, right? There's not like a game preview to do today. There's not a whole lot of like game content to work through today because when your team plays on a Wednesday, that's kind of how it goes. So week 17, of course, will continue on this upcoming weekend. We will give some predictions in terms of what is relevant to the AFC playoff picture and those contests that are coming up on Saturday and Sunday. But first, Chuck Pagano, who's now on the McAfee show, but he's a former NFL head coach, of course, with the Indianapolis Colts, sent a warning to the NFL, Sarah, about the Ravens, claiming that there's going to be a lot of teams that do not want to see the juggernaut that they've turned into. And yes, that is all three phases, not just offensively speaking. So we'll get into the significance of those comments. Kyle Van Noy has kept his receipts, and you have a boatload of content in terms of Ravens Wired, Lamar Jackson's reactions and reaction, which was very low key to making history, which is kind of par for the course for him these days. And of course, we have an homage t-shirt giveaway episode for you, which as always, if you submit a super chat, if you like the video, if you subscribe and you go visit the link that we have included as a pinned comment and also in the show notes, you will be eligible to enter into today's giveaway. We'll have that winner coming out later on. So get your super chats rolling. We're looking forward to showing you what we have rolling. And you, my friend, are rocking one of your new shirts, which is not Ravens related, but it's certainly festive.
It definitely is festive. I wanted to get this in before Christmas is totally behind us, but this is my homage. It just came in. I think it came in the day after Christmas because I ordered it so late. I appreciate them getting it to me quickly. But I got the classic Home Alone. I grew up on this, right? This was my jam. I've probably seen this movie at least 50 times, something like that. Look what you did, you little jerk. So just a reminder that homage, of course, you want to get your Ravens gear, especially since we're getting ready for a playoff run, but they've got other stuff there, so make sure you peruse the entire website.
It's an all-time classic. D-Rod gets us started. The first and certainly not last super chat that's come in. Good morning, Vault fam. # Vault. D-Rod, good to see you. Hopefully you had an awesome holiday season and Happy New Year upcoming. So we're going to begin with this Ravens defense, right? Because make no mistake, since week 11, this is a team that is surging right now. And of course, that has everything to do with some of the personnel adjustments that they've made. We're going to go into the weeds here in just a second as to how Kyle Hamilton's at the epicenter of that.
Absolutely. Like the defense and the things that have been going on there has just been absolutely insane. The folks at First Things First put together a graphic of the Ravens' first 10 games versus the last 6 games. It's more striking since the bye week, but check this out. So first 10 games. I mean, this is just insane how this defense has completely morphed into a different unit. Opponents' points per game, the first 10 games, 25.3. The last 6 games, dropping almost 10 points per game to 16.3. How about the opponent's yards per game? It has dropped by 100, Bobby, by 100 yards per game from 367.9 to 267.0. Insane. How about yards per play? More than 1 yard per play. It has dropped 5.7 to 4.4 yards per game from 294 to 171. And then third down percentage, and this is massive to get guys off of the field. They were giving up third down conversions almost half the time, Bobby. 46.7% of the time, and now it's down to less than a third of the time to 29.1. And then if you look at it closely, first or second in NFL. Yeah. So they're first or second in the NFL in all these categories now, if you take the last 6 weeks. All those numbers right there for the last 6 weeks, it's either first or second in the entire NFL. It's insane what this defensive unit has been able to accomplish.
Yeah, and since the bye, of course, which is notable because of the win streak and the significance of where they now stand, controlling their own destiny, entering the regular season finale against Cleveland. This is a team that's outscored its opponents 100-33. But Chuck Pagano, former NFL head coach with the Indianapolis Colts, who now appears on the Pat McAfee show, Sarah, kind of divvied this thing up into specific individual success that he's enjoyed watching. And of course, up and down the defense. Take your pick, and that's exactly what he did.
Coach Pagano, you said that defense is able to go on a run right now. You think that defense can win a Super Bowl. Why is that?
So since the bye, right, 3-0, they're averaging 33 points on offense and only giving up 11 on defense. So I think 2 or 3 things happened, right, during that bye week.
Okay.
Zach Orr, first-time defensive coordinator, right? So he's 31 years old. He's starting to fall into a groove. I think the players are getting to know him. He's getting to know his players. That's number one. He's getting more comfortable in that role, calling the defense for them. Number 2, Kyle Hamilton is now playing safety full-time. If you remember back, they were giving up a ton of explosive plays, right? Their pass defense was 32nd in the National Football League forever, right? So they move him back to safety, or Darius Washington's playing the other safety, right? So from a communication standpoint, front to back, Roquan handles the front, Kyle handles the back, or Darius chimes in, and then Marlon Humphrey is playing nickel full-time now. If you remember back, Kyle was playing dime, he was playing nickel, he's playing big nickel, first and second down. He settled in at safety. They got a couple players back from injury. Big baby Michael Pierce is back. He missed 4 or 5 weeks. Travis Jones missed some time on the defensive line. Van Noy's
killing it.
Killing it.
I believe he'll be joining us tomorrow, Cal. Keith Van
Nice.
Keith
Brandon Stevens is playing his ass off at one of the corners. And then the rookie, Nate Wiggins out of Clemson, he's coming into his own. So this thing's turning into a juggernaut again.
Yeah.
I mean, with the offense the way it is, now they got this thing fixed on the other side. You don't want to see this group.
You don't want to see this group, referring to them as a juggernaut. This chart right here certainly reflects that as well. It's the passing and rushing defense, the weeks 11 through the 17, of course, which leads up to the game that was just played on Wednesday. And Sarah, it's rush EPA per play allowed over drop back EPA per play allowed, which again is just a measurement of efficiency and performance level. And looky where the Ravens are. Look far right. If you can't find the Ravens logo, they are way out in front of this league.
You always want to be in the upper right quadrants of these things, and that's where the Ravens are, and leading the way, obviously, as you pointed out, drop back EPA. So that's against the pass, and then against the rush, they're more, they're in the upper echelon, but more towards the middle of it. And this is for, you said this is weeks 11 through 17?
Yep.
Okay. And remember, to have that when the Ravens were ranked number 31 in pass defense for weeks upon weeks upon weeks, I don't know that we truly appreciate the changes and the turnaround that's been happening here. And on top of it, Bobby, you're also getting these highlight reel plays also. And to allow the Houston Texans to only have 2 points, and the defense didn't even do that, right? That was more on the offense. So basically to pitch a shutout against these Houston Texans is not only just like, oh, like they were never close. No, this defensive stand at the goal line that we all remember from our Darius Washington on the 4th down, but Brian Baldinger breaks the whole series down that I feel like we need to relive because we've been so and rightfully focused on the offense and what Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and the historic things that happened on Sunday from Lamar's perspective. But let's also enjoy and relive this goal line stand with Baldy.
Play great low red zone defense. This is 2nd and 3 at the 3. All right, now watch Kyle Hamilton come. Watch him blow this gap up. Like right there, he takes on both blockers, Woods and Stover. And what's that do? When right here, Mixon tries to bounce it, here's Humphrey and Roquan, free to make the tackle for a yard loss. So now you're 3rd down at the 4. Remember, this is a 10-2 game. Here the Ravens are playing right here. So you watch this right now, and they want to go, look, it's 10 toes on the goal line, right? Everybody's playing the goal line here across the board. So now you see Marlon Humphrey, excellent job, playing the goal line, all right, on Mechie. Ball's out. Now they get to 4th down at the 4. They're going to double Nico Collins here with Stevens and with Kyle Hamilton. Can you get it in there? Like, that's exactly where CJ wants to go. But he's seen Kyle drive on this slant right here. And he's like, man, I can't do that. So now he's coming back, and now he's checking it down right here to Mixon. All right, Humphrey takes a shot at it, but here comes Washington. Bam. Good stick by Washington. Goal line stand. Ravens get the ball at the 1 yard line. Excellent job. 3 downs to keep the Texans out of the end zone.
Yep.
Woo.
Yep. Back to back to back. And can we just rewind that for a second on mute with Marlon? Because while our Darius, and not to cut you off at all, Sarah, but before, like this play right here from Marlon, we talked about it on the post-game show. This PBU was incredible, but I think even more so incredible than that it's getting for, because our Darius, of course, is getting all the pub, and deservedly so. But for Marlon to make that play after a weak DPI call, that takes some chops right there. That's moxie.
Yeah, no, it's kind of highlighting everything that Pagano, who obviously we didn't mention, but obviously was a former Ravens defensive coordinator. I mean, I remember working with him there at the facility, and he was such a likable guy. So to get a stamp of approval from him, right? And then we see that come to life in what Baldy's kind of highlighting, because he talked about how Zach Orr's turned it around. He's talked about what Hamilton has done on that last one. That's another low key thing, as you pointed out correctly, what Marlon Humphrey did on the play just before Ardarius Washington laid the hit stick down. But that Ardarius Washington wouldn't even have had a chance if Kyle Hamilton on the other side didn't take out Nico Collins along with Brandon Stevens. And remember, John McClain, famous Houston Texans historic reporter who's been at it for 48 years, he said all the Ravens had to do is double team Nico Collins, and then everything else will work out. And that's exactly what they did. They said, okay, we'll let all you guys take Marlon Humphrey one-on-one, take the check down Ardarius, like whatever you guys want to do, we're just going to double Nico, and somebody else is going to have to beat us. And nobody did. So the fact that they were able to shut down Nico, which is exactly where CJ wanted to go, and he had to go to the check down, and then that allowed Ardarius Washington to do the rest. That was pretty special. And it shows, Bobby, that this isn't a one-man show right now. And that's usually what happens on defense, and why they were so bad before, is the communication and not being on the same page. And now it's like Ardarius Washington can shine because Kyle Hamilton's doing his job. And then because those two are doing their job, Marlon Humphrey can shine. And now what's crazy is the irony of all of it is they kept saying in the beginning, okay, this guy wasn't doing his job, or somebody's playing out of position because they're trying to do something else. They've got that worked out. Meanwhile, that is exactly what everybody in Pittsburgh was saying after their last couple of losses. They're like, somebody's trying to be a hero. Somebody's trying to do somebody else's job. We're out of place. We don't have communication. And these two AFC North rivals have just completely switched roles.
Yep. You got multiple players that are shining, multiple players that are cashing in on splash plays. We've seen that from Marlon, Ardarius, and Kyle in recent weeks. But when it comes to Kyle, while you always can pretty much expect the splash plays to come, expect just a straight line of consistency. And that has a lot to do with his usage this year, which the guys on The Athletic, the football show, Robert Mays particularly tweeted this clip out that I think summarizes well what the Ravens have done really well when it comes to Kyle's usage and what they've gotten in return as a result.
Is the week where Kyle Hamilton played more snaps at safety than at slot corner for the first time this season. Since week 11, do you know where the Ravens defense ranks in EPA per dropback and success rate on defense?
Top 6?
They are number 1 in both of those since week 11. In both.
Good Lord. I wouldn't have guessed the best. They've definitely felt a lot better. And you know, the most frustrating part about this, I held on for so long. That this Ravens defense would turn it around. And it felt like the moment I gave up, they moved Kyle Hamilton back to safety, and they're insanely good again.
The lesson to be learned from this, I think, is that if you have a really, really good offense, like one of the best offenses in the league, and I think you can make a strong case that the Ravens do have the best offense in the league. I think people have focused a lot on the blips and some of the brain fart moments in the Ravens season. You lose a game to the Raiders, you lose that against that Browns team. They have destroyed so many playoff teams. They destroyed the Bills. They destroyed a Texans team. The Texans were number 1 in the league in defensive DVOA coming into this week. And you can, have your quibbles with that. And they didn't look great against the Chiefs last week. This has been objectively one of the best defenses in the league by any metric you want to look at. The Ravens won 31-2 against them. The Ravens destroyed the Broncos, who were a top 5 team. So what they're capable of doing at their best. I understand the downswings are frustrating, but part of that is because of what the defense looked like. Your offense most likely is going to be a more consistent, reliable unit over the course of the year. It's going to be less likely that you're going to see huge vacillations between what your offense is from the first half of the season to the second half of the season. Defense is not like that. Couple tweaks, things kind of round into form, things crystallize a little bit. You move a couple guys around, you figure out who you want to be, especially with a staff and a coordinator who's doing this for the first time. Like, it was easy to imagine the defense getting at least a little bit better down the back half of the season. And if the offense stayed as good as it had been, how scary would this team be? Well, that happened. Like, that's exactly what has happened. And I think we probably should have been a little bit more open to this possibility for what the potential of this Ravens team could look like by the time we got to this point in the year.
That's courtesy of the Athletic Football Show. And again, it has a lot to do with Kyle Hamilton. We shared this from earlier in the week. According to All 22 and the PFF grading metrics, they said that Kyle is on pace right now to earn elite grades in 4 grading categories this season, which of course speaks directly to his versatility. Coverage grade of 89.6, pass rush grade of 89.9, 90.2 in run defense, and an overall grade 90.5. So yeah, this has been an all-pro caliber year for number 14, Sarah, and it kind of all stems back to week 11 when they made that decision to bring him back to sort of his traditional role as safety on the back end. And boy, has it paid dividends for this team. And Ardarius is as much of that part of that conversation as Kyle's been.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to that Athletic clip that you pulled, I had never heard it before. I don't know the person's name on the right that was there, but he was the guy who was like, be patient. Ravens defense will come around. He gives up on him, and then he's shocked when he hears the stat that they're number 1 in both EPA, rush and drop back. And and he should be shocked. And then they pointed out the strength of schedule. He's like, you can focus on those blips, of course. And we remember what happened in that Raiders game and how the defense completely melted down and had those miscommunications. We remember all of that. And so, but the bigger point is why not focus on them, like overcoming that and rounding into form and beating all of these playoff teams, and not just beating them, but beating them convincingly. And that's where the Ravens are right now, playing complementary football with an offense that is leading the league in many categories. And now all of a sudden, imagine if the Bengals defense had the turnaround that the Ravens defense has had. Because remember, the Ravens defense has been 31 in pass defense.
Yep.
Bengals were not that bad. Could you imagine if the Bengals had a turnaround? That's essentially what's going on here, because the Ravens are putting up those type of offensive numbers with a defense that's turned it around. And that's why you can bring it back to Pagano saying nobody wants to see a juggernaut like this in the playoffs.
Appreciate you guys for being with us today. This is, of course, an homage t-shirt giveaway episode live stream, which we're going to be doing at the end of the show. Let's get to some super chats while we're at it before we talk about the other Kyle, who wreaked a little bit of havoc, Sarah, on social media within the last few hours, and that's Kyle Van Noy, who's in the middle of a career season, and he kept his receipts. We'll get to those in just a little bit here, but the super chats are coming in. Again, today is an homage t-shirt giveaway. Daniel Rodriguez from earlier on says, good morning, Vault fam, #Vault. Asmodeus.
Merry Christmas, Sarah. Thank you. Same to you.
And he gave me one as well. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate
Nice.
that. Chris says, for my darn shirt, #Vault. Eric Murphy.
Defense played possessed, #Vault.
Robbie Pate says, if we get a home playoff game, I'm emptying the bank account and getting a ticket, #Vault. Daniel Inman.
K-Ham is depoy easily, #Vault. Some people are pushing Marlon Humphrey right now. K-Ham's the MVP, but Marlon Humphrey has a few more splash plays, especially in big time moments to help save the game. So I don't know.
He's been the
I like
splash
having
guy.
that. I like that we're having the conversation. Is it K-Ham or Marlon Humphrey?
For sure. Antoine, feeling confident about this upcoming postseason run, says that the team's going to finish 8-0. Hashtag vault, which would mean a trip to New Orleans. David Newmeister.
He's obviously talking from since the bye week. David says Kyle is an absolute dog. Defense turn up. Hashtag vault.
Thor hitting us with some Iceland currency, as he tends to do. Let's just state the obvious that Americans are so afraid to say out loud, oh boy, where's he going here? If Lamar was white and Josh was black, this wouldn't even be called an MVP race in the systemic racist mainstream media. Hashtag vault.
Well, I'll just say Lamar Jackson won it last year over Josh Allen when plenty of people thought Josh Allen had a case. I disagreed with it. So Thor would have to explain that from last year.
And Dreams.
Yeah, my fault. What's up, Vault? Hashtag Vault. Starting to get Super Bowl 47 vibe. Super Bowl is in New Orleans. Oh, I like this vibe already. Keep talking Dreams. I know y'all remember who shut the lights out at halftime that year. And Kendrick Lamar is performing at the Super Bowl. Just saying it's starting to align.
Don J writes, Ravens beat the Bills and Lamar outplayed Josh. They had a similar opponent in the Texans. And Lamar outplayed Josh again. It was not even close. Lamar MV3. Hashtag vault. And Sarah Brian Walters gave us our $200 super chat over the weekend. Or maybe it was Christmas night. I can't even remember at this point. And Brian's coming back for more to enter himself in. But he didn't use the hashtag vault. Oh, Brian.
The Ravens are peaking at exactly the right time. And oh, Lordy, it's glorious to watch. Everyone is doing their job. Just superb football that leaves us optimistic for the postseason.
A lot of folks, I think, are excited to hear you say Loudy. However you pronounce it. Chaos One Reigns writes, I think that the wide receiver development under Lamar is overlooked by the pundits. That 2 and 6 play with Likely is a great example. This is what MVPs do. D-Rod hitting us with another one.
Kyle Hamilton. Hashtag vault.
And Lauren Wunderlich just saying, hey, hashtag vault. Lauren, thank you for your email. We owe you another response. So far, we've got 19. So the percentages right now are favoring you who have chosen to donate via the Super Chat tool today because, again, we are randomly giving away an homage T-shirt coming up later in this episode. Mike M.
Ravens 3-0 after the bye. Steelers 0-3. Hashtag vault.
That is true. That's just fact. Olu writes, Thor. Truth. Hashtag vault and Jang.
Ravens need to spank the Browns next Sunday. Hashtag vault.
You get the best ones. Brian Walters writes, whoopsie doodles. Hashtag vault and throws in another $2 to make sure that
Why can't I say things like whoopsie doodles? I'm trying over here pronounce all this other stuff. Here we go. Whoopsie doodles sounds like something for me.
It does. It really does. Let's tell everybody about what we've got going on and what Homage has going on at homage.com. Again, you can find more by visiting the show notes at the top of the description, or as you see as a pinned comment, you can enter into today's giveaway and go check out what they have going on up at the site. Sarah, you just got a big haul, didn't you, recently?
I got a massive haul. I got a couple Christmas sweatshirts, which is why I'm wearing the look what you did, little jerk today. I also got another some more joggers with a matching hoodie, Ravens. And then I got another couple Ravens t-shirts. So I will be sporting those throughout the last week of the regular season and as far as the Ravens go in the postseason.
This is a new one. Just a kid from Baltimore. I hadn't seen that one
nice.
yet. And I actually just went through the go-tos. I mean, this is random. Maybe you won't be surprised because I don't typically rock a bunch of Ravens gear around the house or whatever. But I went to the go-to sweatshirts and hoodies section as my entire family decides to just descend onto the basement for whatever reason. I thought this was a co-working space, Sarah, but apparently not. Go-to sweatshirts and hoodies. This was a section that I just made hay on. Apparently Mom wants to come say hello mid homage read. So I guess we're going to roll with that. Hello, Mom. How are you? Okay. Plugging in the Christmas tree. Great. Thank you.
Hi, Mom.
Yes. That was so conveniently placed, right? The Christmas tree right behind my
She wanted the
left
set
shoulder.
to be just right.
Yes.
And nothing was going to deny her. I appreciate it.
I'm just surprised we haven't heard from TJ yet, the middle brother who is in the middle of a co-working space. I think he's making his way over right now. And I have a great view of this because he's got a monitor that is as big as the ocean that I can see. He's pulling up our channel right now. You got to go to the vault big boy, to get on the show. I think he's about to enter into the live chat right now, maybe even get himself involved in the super chat contest. But anyway, as I just get completely sidetracked over here, we have a new discount code, partner, as we just learned earlier today. And so from this point forward, which starts today at Homage and ends February 9th of 2025, 20% discount code if you use Vault20. That's VAULT20 at checkout. That is a 20% discount off the total order value. Some exclusions do apply. No minimum purchase requirement. There is a limit of 1 use per customer. But that starts today, partner, and runs through the 9th. So hopefully folks can take advantage of it throughout the holiday season.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Also, to me, it's like it's time to get, after we get out of this Christmas, New Year's kind of week that we're in, it's all Ravens gear all the time for this playoff. But that's one I just got. The black one right there.
Right here?
Yeah. I got
This
that
is
one.
actually slick, man.
Yeah. I kind of like that one. And it's got the new alternate helmet. So that's why I wanted to grab that.
Oh, that's right. That's just,
Yeah.
That was debuted on what primetime game was that this year? Can't remember, but they debuted.
I don't know,
it
but
this
that
year.
was the game that Lamar had like his 3-point shot, like that photo that's.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to remember who that
And
was.
of course, these are the joggers. We both got.
Yeah,
these.
that's what I got. Yeah, I got the matching. In fact, I'm actually wearing it with this shirt right now, but I have
yeah?
the matching top. There it is.
Nice.
But I got to show off my shoes just because it's the red and gray together.
Yeah.
You see those? I think that looks pretty tight.
You're looking super comfortable today.
I'm very comfortable. Very comfortable.
I love it. A few more have come in here. Again, this is the Homage T-shirt giveaway. It's typically Wednesday. We're going Fridays from this point forward. As I look at us in the
What?
TJ has us up on his monitor, and it just completely sidetracked
Throwing you off.
This is why. Okay, just so everybody knows. Okay, for the record, this is why I love my family more than anything. There is a reason that I stuck around in the Baltimore area to get our business done. All right,
On the Christmas Day game.
as to why that's the case right now. Let's rip through these and get to Kyle Van Noy. Captain Hard writes, they're making stuff up, LOL, just for Josh to win. Honestly, it's starting to be funny. #Vault. Olu hits us with another one.
Look at the primetime games. LJ8 MVP. #Vault.
Asmodeus says, Merry Christmas, Bobby's mom. #Vault. James Green hits us with a $10 super chat donation. And Juicebox weighing in.
Even ESPN switching up now in favor of LJ. #Vault.
Tila writes, let's go Ravens, unleash your inner champion. #Bowlbound. #Vault for Bobby and for Sarah.
Like
and you see the emojis?
I sure do. Yeah, you got a beer emoji and I get an apple juice box emoji. I could drink an apple juice box. Here, let me tell you my top 3 drinks that I go to, by the way. Obviously, number 1 is water. I'm always drinking water. Number 2, if there's only soda pop in the words of Chris Broussard, soda pop.
Yeah.
It's a Sprite for me. But my favorite non-water drink is an Izzy.
An Izzy?
Have you had an Izzy before?
Is that like a pop type thing, or
it's like a carbonated fruit drink. It's really good. My favorites are black cherry and clementine.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah. If I'm having a day where I'm like, I won't just drink water, it's usually Izzy.
TJ's in his froth era. I know you and I wouldn't partake, but he is a big cappuccino guy. He makes caffeinated drinks for all of our family in the morning hours, and he's become a big frother, haven't you, TJ? Yes. Stray Dog hits us.
But Tila, appreciate you for the apple juice. I would definitely drink that. Thank you.
Well played, Tila.
Yes.
Stray Dog 679. I'll let you take this one.
My Capricorn twin, Sarah. My birthday is tomorrow, so I hope you have a great birthday, Bobby. You are my dog. #Vault. So his birthday's tomorrow, so that his is the 28th and mine's the 30th. Love it.
Happy early birthday, Dre. Lazy says, can I get a woo-wee dummy from Sarah? #Vault. You're getting it from both.
Okay, so I need to ask a question. Do people want me to say whoa dummy? Or do they want me to keep my original interpretation, which is woo-wee dummy? Because I was doing woo-wee and I got a lot of pushback with Bible references and Baltimore, obviously Baltimore references. Like, what do you guys want from me? What do we want?
Who needs to answer those questions? That question? Lazy himself, who dropped in a super chat.
Just so Antonio knows, Izzy's are not caffeinated. He said caffeinated drinks are unhealthy. Be careful, Sarah. I don't drink caffeine.
Sarah doesn't do caffeine.
Uh-uh.
If you guys haven't already figured that out. Lazy writes, I think Lazy and OG Perlid, right? OG Pearled. They're the ones that constantly talk about this phrase. I think they need to decide this for you.
Okay. Lazy, I'll wait for you. What do you want?
Why do we have to call him? Can we call you something else too? Like, unless you want to be called Lazy? But hey, Jersey Mike 2052 says 77 playing guard was Joe D experience. Ravens will never bench him in honor of Joe D, good or bad. 32 haven't been suiting up because injury, because of an injury clause in the contract. #vault. So, okay, a couple things to weed out here or weed through here. Jersey Mike is referring to Daniel Fa'alele and that it was a Joe D experiment to potentially use Fa'alele as guard. Am I deciphering that correctly? And is that true? Was it a Joe D experiment? I don't remember.
I think it was Joe D that I remember. Yeah, I think I can go back and look, but I feel like we played a clip in like mini camp time. And I felt like Joe D had said something like, if Fa'alele is able to transition to a guard, that will be quite a coup for us.
Okay.
I feel like I remember that. Now, does that mean it was Joe D and only Joe D? And when they hold on to it only for Joe D, if you were not performing, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. And then of course 32 is Marcus Williams, and that's just been a benching. I mean, that's a simple healthy scratch benching because of poor play. Jang writes for Bobby's mom cameo #vault. Yes, if you guys are just tuning in, Leslie Trossett made her debut maybe on the Vault. I'm not sure if she's been on before, but Jang, thank you. I will let her know and relay that you are a fan. Dev James 25, Sarah.
Lamar's season will mirror Nikola Jokic's MVP season, where voters won't. I actually have a clip coming up about this from RC on First Take this morning, where voters, it wasn't from RC, it was from whatever, I'll get to it, won't go to give both his third MVP before he wins a ring. That season ended up in Jokic winning the NBA chip, and Lamar will get his.
Nice pronunciation on the Jokic, too. There's a lot of people that don't go the silent J, and you nailed it.
Boom.
That's probably because of your Colorado ties, right? Do you watch the Nuggets at all? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch NBA as religiously I used to before covering the Ravens. I mean, I used to watch Nuggets, and also because I went to college in Utah, I'd watch the Jazz. And I mean, I'd watch, like, of their 84 games, I probably saw a good 70 of them. But I don't do that anymore. But obviously, I check in on the Nuggets because that's where I grew up.
Yeah, and he's just an unbelievable player. Asmodeus says, Merry Christmas, guy distracting Bobby. #vault. That would be Thomas TJ Trossett. TJ, go back to the other screen so you can see the super chat that's up on the screen right now because he's taking aim at you. And I love it, Richard. Bring it harder. Henry Wright Jr.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish. #vault. Absolutely, especially for the defense.
BG Method says the Ravens win the Super Bowl singing, quote, "They Not Like Us." Kendrick Lamar is the perfect halftime show for what's about to happen. Let's get it, flock. #vault. Purple and black.
Bobby's mom as a guest. When?
Just a quick little cameo to turn on the, I guess, my right shoulder. Over the right shoulder, she turned on the Christmas tree. I'm in her basement. My brother, we got a co-working space today. I just drove back late last night, so it's been a night. It's been a 24 hours or so.
Something tells me your mom wouldn't come on, but your dad has been begging to.
Oh, so. Francis would do anything to get on this show, and I would do anything to keep that from happening. Black Daniels writes, Lamar playing like he has the Infinity Stones. #vault. We got to get back to content.
Yes,
and in order to do so, I just thought kind of to put a bow on this Ravens defense, if you don't mind, Sarah.
Sure.
Kyle Van Noy is having a career year. He's got over 11 sacks, I think 11 and a half to be exact. And this is at 33. He continues to sip from the fountain of youth and give the Ravens a presence on the edge. He also holds on to his receipts. And as he tweeted out earlier today, lots of things have been said over the past year/season. Defense stinks. No pass rush. Mark and other players are washed, meaning Andrews, blah, blah, blah. Even starting 0-2 doesn't matter. Gerald McCoy and myself told everybody, keep the faith in the team. We stuck together, and we will keep climbing together. Can't wait till next week. We are one game away from being Kings of the North and getting a home playoff game. Can't wait for McCoy and Van Noy. Next episode, LFG. And I believe, if not already, He's scheduled to be on the McAfee show today, Sarah, and I would expect him to probably expand on these words come that time.
I'm sure he will. I'm sure they'll flash these up on the screen and give him a platform, and then he can say it with his chest out because it's all true with, the receipts that they've had and the fact that they have stuck together and not like it is crazy how they stick together. And I think that Deontay Johnson video on the offensive side where he's, hugging everybody after the game of the offensive players, like there is no penetrating this like locker room and the brotherhood that they have going on. Like you're not going to divide them. It's just not going to happen with where that defense has been. And the fact that they never threw each other under the bus. And the same thing with Deontay Johnson when he didn't go in, the way like the players, there obviously is a brotherhood going on right now that the bond is as strong as oak. And I love to see it.
Now, with that, it's finally time to start talking some offense. We're 40 minutes in. Both Trossett brothers are lighting up the live chat right now. Sarah, don't even go look. They're just trying to get everybody going. Have you already looked?
Yeah.
They're lighting up the live chat. That's what they're doing.
That's what
Time
they're
to
doing.
talk offense.
All right. So as we know, Lamar Jackson made history. I have been on host soapboxes in the past that I want to see the Ravens fan base celebrate more when Lamar Jackson hits milestones with his legs, because I refuse to be shamed into not appreciating the gift that Lamar Jackson has that no other NFL quarterback has now or has ever had. And Michael Vick is right there with it in terms of the talent. But Lamar Jackson, as we know, is now the greatest running quarterback of all time by putting up 6,110 career rushing yards. And he did it in way fewer games. Look at who congratulated him when that happened. I was going to say Bobby, but yes, Bobby Petrino. Congratulations, Lamar. You continue to show them why you're the GOAT and MVP. And as I've mentioned, he also is number 2 right now in single season passer rating at 121.6. And as you mentioned yesterday, Bobby, he needs a 138.6 to become number 1 all time. So we are witnessing history and we should celebrate it. Lamar Jackson, on the other hand, let's go inside to his on-field reaction to when he was told that he rewrote history. And his mind is not on that at all during the game.
You broke the record, right? Yeah, they just told me. Scott just told me. Appreciate that, coach. Appreciate you, man. Yes, sir. Appreciate that. You're young. You about to make it unreachable.
He has 6,110 career rushing yards right now. Keep it going, bro. You're special, bro.
Appreciate you, bro.
Keep it going.
Yes, sir. I got you.
Literally, Sarah, T. Martin is so right. He could make this record unreachable. He's in his 7th season. What if he goes for 20? What if he goes for another 10 years?
He's only 28 years old.
Yeah.
Yes, he could.
Or soon to be, right? Soon to be. He's not even 28 yet. He'll be 28 next month.
Is he 27 right now?
Yeah.
That's bananas.
Yep.
I gave him an extra year. Yeah. I mean, he's broken the record in way fewer games, and he is going to extend it. And so he comes off to the side of the field, and John Harbaugh, his head coach, is like, "Hey, you broke the record, right?" He's like, "Oh yeah, so and so told me." Like as if, "Hey Bobby, did you know that your mom was just in the background?" Like, not big of it. Like, yeah, I saw her. Like, no, dude, you just rewrote history books. And his low-key response is exactly what we anticipate from Lamar Jackson, because we know his priorities, which is the team first, which is the Super Bowl first. So not that surprising that he downplayed that. Meanwhile, Bobby, as we know, on his way to setting that new record, he had that 48-yard rushing touchdown. Okay. The NFL Next Gen Stats clocked him at 21.25 miles per hour. It's pretty fast. Fastest he's ever run before. Look at all these. Look at all these going all the way back to 2019. I would say not only has he not lost his step, but I think going back to his original 2019 weight is making him speedy once again. And then the reporters after the game wanted to tell him how fast it was, that it was 21.25 miles per hour. Here is Lamar Jackson's reaction to that.
As far as miles per hour, that was your fastest run in the NFL of your career. Did it feel that way?
I was jogging. I was straight. I didn't have to do anything. Well, I mean, what was it though?
21 point something miles per hour. That's what they told me. I didn't clock it, but that's what they told me.
That's crazy. It's cool.
It's light work. That's light work for him.
That's the thing, is it's like rushing record, just another day in Lamar Jackson's life. Going up to 21 point whatever miles per hour, just another day in Lamar Jackson's life. Just jogging. And let's just relive it, because Baldy, another golden breakdown of how he's toying with the defensive back who's trying to catch him, and Lamar literally was jogging there at the end.
Take a look at this touchdown run in the top of the third quarter. You got Andrews and Likely leading the way, and Lamar never really put it in the top gear. He said he didn't have to. He's just kind of jogging. It was like the Pompano jog right here. Running like this is not normal. You just don't run by NFL defenses like this. Literally, he's checking his rearview mirror here. It's not even necessary. 48 yards at the top of the third quarter put this game on ice. I mean, what he just did in this, like here he comes right into your living room right now. And he said he didn't hit top gear. He was jogging. And like they're running as hard as they can and nobody can catch him. Like look at him. He's just looking at him, playing with him. This doesn't happen in the NFL. Lamar Jackson is just different. He's just walking.
He's just walking. It happens when he's on the football field, Sarah. And as James Jones said yesterday on the facility, whenever they evaluate a game, who is the best player on the football field? Who looks as if he's on a different planet? 8.
And in a lot of ways, Bobby, that is exactly how he won it last year, and it's how he put himself back in the conversation. You know, everybody keeps like arguing about like stats and this and that, and they're like, well, if it didn't get him, if stats didn't do it last year, why are we going to do it this year? Like stats underscore what he's doing this time around. But the fact of the matter is that Josh Allen was becoming the favorite because of moments he had on national TV against the Chiefs and against the Rams and against the Lions. And then when Lamar had his chance on national TV and even worldwide TV on Netflix, that's when he got back in the conversation. So he's really winning it the same way, because he wasn't the leader until he went on and showed that once again, he is the best football player on the field. And the stats and whatever else anybody else is doing, when your eyes watch him, all you can see is that he's the best player in the world. So, but I want to keep on this reaction to him setting the record of rush yards, Bobby. I thought Ryan Clark put into perspective the history upon which Lamar Jackson is standing, the shoulders upon which Lamar Jackson is standing, and his shoulders and what it could bear up in the future. I thought he put it in pretty good perspective this morning on First Take.
To add one thing, because I know we changed the question, and I wanted to say something about this. And I want to say it to you, and I want to say it to Randall Cunningham, and I want to say it to Russell Wilson, and I want to say it to Michael Vick. This is the evolution of the position. Yeah. Without Randall Cunningham having to try to conform and be a pocket passer and also show his athleticism, we don't get to Michael Vick. And without Michael Vick accepting that and working to become a better passer, working to become a better leader, we don't get a Cam Newton. And if Cam Newton doesn't bring the style of play that he had the opportunity to bring from Auburn to the NFL and win an MVP doing it, we don't have a Lamar Jackson. Correct. See, we've needed at that position, because of all the negativity surrounding whether or not people like you can play it, we needed each of you to get to this point. Yes. And that's why we need Lamar Jackson to take that next step and hold that Lombardi trophy the same way we all cried when Doug Williams did it in the 80s.
Yes,
Shout out to
preach.
Wow. That's incredibly
cool.
well said. I hadn't heard that one yet. You clipped that for us today. That's extremely well said.
And it was cool for him to say it with Cam Newton sitting right there.
Well, you can tell
because
Cam was locked in.
Cam was locked in. Cam is part of that chain, right? The chain of the quarterbacks and how it's evolved. and how it's gotten to the place where Lamar can be the next. And then Lamar has even, it's interesting because in that same segment, when they showed the rushing yards and had Michael Vick at number 2, Cam Newton was talking about, man, if Michael Vick was given quarterback designed runs the way the Ravens have done with Lamar, like Michael Vick for sure would have more numbers, right? Like the vast majority of his rushing yards came from scrambles and broken down plays. I don't know what percentage of Lamar's is. I would love to know what percentage of his rushing yards is from designed runs and how much is from scrambles. But it was just cool for them to talk about that evolution. And then so the next step of the evolution, RC kind of hinted at the very end with being a Super Bowl, but Ellie Duncan took it a little bit further and expanded of what Lamar can do for future quarterbacks.
I don't know if anyone's ever going to break Lamar's record. He's 28 freaking years old. We keep forgetting he's 28 years old. Yeah. He could have another decade under his belt. Right now, the closest person to him, over 6,100 rushing yards, you said, for Lamar, is Josh Allen with 4,100. But the reason that I love this so much and that it was Mike Vick's record that he broke is because apart from someone like you, Cam, like, I think he is the closest that we've seen to Mike Vick. And also being an Atlanta person, you knew that everything that dogged Mike Vick, despite the escapability, despite the unparalleled athleticism, despite the fact he could throw 60-yard bombs on a dime, was the question of whether that was still the formula or the blueprint for a championship. Will it translate to a championship winning type of quarterback? And to me, that is why, while I personally think Lamar Jackson should be the MVP because I think that he has proven himself to be that, it doesn't matter. Because what Lamar has got to do for all the Mike Vicks of the world is win that championship so that we can finally put that tired, exhaustive narrative to bed.
I love that end. We can finally, if Lamar were to, and I think this is why you see so many people like an Ocho Cinco yesterday, like pulling for him because it's for Lamar for sure. You want to see Lamar do it. He's such a likable guy. He's so just lovable and he works so hard and he is sensational and he's all of that. But it's also what it means. Like put it to bed that a running quarterback, a true dual threat quarterback, can indeed win the Super Bowl. Put the narrative to rest. And if he were to win it all, he could put the exclamation point on that. And then guys like Cam Newton and Michael Vick and everybody else that have been in this succession of the shoulders that Lamar is standing on, it's like it's a Super Bowl win for all of them in that sense.
I know the king along the MVP line certainly is on his side and doing everything he can, as he did post-game on Wednesday, to talk up not only his greatness, but his MVP candidacy. And he was quoted for saying he deserves it. He's been doing this for a long time, and it's only right for him to get a third one. The stats prove it. And speaking of stats, you started to compile them.
Yeah. So this morning I had put out, the graphic that we showed before of the passer rating and the rushing record. And I said it'd be a shame if he didn't get an MVP when he's making history like this. And of course, a Bills fan was like, well, you can't do it based off of like a career record. You have to do it on this season. And that is very true. So I just wanted to point out, here are the historic numbers after week 18 that he could get. Bobby, with 45 passing yards, Lamar will hit 4,000. He will definitely go over that. Okay. 4,000 with 148 rushing yards. He'll hit 1,000. That one seems a little bit more of a stretch, but remember, he's already over 800. And no player has ever had 800 plus rushing yards and 4,000 plus passing yards in the same season. So however much he finishes over 800, he's already 800 plus 4,000. He's already set a new record. He needs one passing touchdown for 40 total passing touchdowns. He needs one rushing touchdown for 5. He needs less than 2 interceptions to keep it under 5. And then that 138.6 quarterback rating to be 122.6, which would be the single season best passer rating in NFL history. So, I mean, when Derrick Henry says the stats prove it, when we say they would be a shame not to give an MVP to commemorate this year, I mean it. These are historic numbers.
And then, of course, we've talked about this one-way street, right? And what's the one-way street that we're referring to? It's that for whatever reason, in some minds of national media members, Derrick Henry's presence is one thing, right? Lamar's presence for Derrick means everything. But it hasn't been a two-way street in some folks' perspectives, meaning Derrick's presence has taken away from Lamar's MVP candidacy in terms of some of those folks that have a vote. And Gordon McGinnis, PFF, we've had him on the show. I think we had him on during the playoffs last year. I had some good things to say on X recently, and he wrote, Derrick Henry's currently beating his career best yards per carry for a season by a full half yard. He goes on to write a few bullet points. A, great season by Derrick. B, good scheme / blocking from the offensive line. Or C, Lamar. And he's like, no, it's a combination of all three, but C is the primary reason. And Sarah, as we've discussed in recent weeks, it hasn't exactly been a two-way street from some in the national media.
No, and the tape bears that out. It bears it out. It's tough to say that the two guards for the Ravens, are like a massive, massive reason, although they have been improving, right? But these are not all pro guards or Pro Bowl guards that we're talking about. And so while they have been improving, he's absolutely right. It's a combination of all three, but C, meaning Lamar, is the primary reason. And then again, I don't think that Josh Allen has a teammate quite at the caliber of Derrick Henry. I'm not going to sit here and trash him in order to make a case for MVP, but let's not act like Josh Allen is playing with trash either. Okay. His running back, James Cook, has 16 touchdowns. He's got Amari Cooper, who's a 5-time Pro Bowler. He's got Keon Coleman, which is a 2024 second-round pick. He's got Dalton Kincaid, which is a 2023 first-round pick. Dawson Knox is his second tight end. And then he's got PFF's third-ranked offensive line. So I don't know why they feel like they need to trash on his teammates in order to lift him, but that's certainly what seems to be happening frequently. And then Swipe a Cam pointed out the history of the NFL MVP voting. And he said, Peyton Manning won the NFL MVP award in 2004 with Edgerrin James, who's a Hall of Famer, rushing for over 1,500 yards, and he was an All-Pro that season. Kurt Warner won in 2001, and his teammate Marshall Faulk was second in MVP voting the same season. So, if people aren't going to if past quarterbacks aren't going to have a running back tax, I don't know why Lamar should.
Let's see. And you had one more slide because of I think it was earlier in the week, folks were asking about specific MVP voters.
This was yesterday because I said that I wanted to know I wanted them to be transparent about who the MVP voters were, the AP and the NFL. And so people in the chat yesterday were saying, Sarah, it's already out there. It's on Twitter. And I don't know what they were referring to, but this tweet from Dave Myers, who I believe covers the Bills, he put out this tweet, said, if you're curious, here's your 50 MVP voters. And he says, yes, this is a real list. But then he got community noted, and there was a link to this. This was the list from last year. So the NFL and the AP announce it, but not until the votes are in. So, but I'm guessing there's a lot of carryover here, a lot of carryover. So, like, I know that Tom Brady still has one. Ted Bruschi, I remember him, Teddy Bruschi, he said earlier this season he has one. Obviously, Emmanuel Acho, Jarrett Bell, it wouldn't surprise me if he still did. A longtime USA Today writer.
Mike Florio.
Tony Dungy.
Yeah. Mina Kimes, you'd expect her to be on this again.
Peter King, I would expect to still be on there. Pat Kerwin. Sam Monson, I'm pretty sure.
Although Peter retired, though, so I wonder if that's a spot that's up for grabs.
Oh, did he? Is he not writing at all?
No, at least from his column that he wrote forever.
Yeah, he's not doing anymore.
I believe he retired.
So he might not be there. Yeah. It looks like some of these I accidentally put on twice. But, Rich Gannon, Jonathan Jones, Lindsey Jones, Mike Jones, a lot of Joneses there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know for sure who's still on there, but I'm sure it's a large, large contingent. Somebody who's not on here that I do know is an MVP voter is Tone from the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah, one of his buddies.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Tone.
And I guess Pat turned it down. Oh, sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
I think Tone Diggs is his handle. He's one of Pat's co-hosts.
Yeah.
So, and that represents the show. And yeah, to your point, Pat was like, I'd rather not be involved in that part. At least that's what he mentioned himself. We've got a ton of super chats to get to. We are going to predict a few games ahead of this weekend that have relevance to the AFC playoff picture. So we'll get to those in just a second. We have 53 super chats that have come in so far today, and we're probably about 5 to 10 minutes away from picking today's randomly picking today's homage t-shirt giveaway winner. So let's see where we left off here. Let's see. I believe Sitley Ramirez, and that's is addressed to you.
Sarah, how did you become a Ravens fan? #Vault. So I became a fan when I became an intern for the Baltimore Ravens. It was I was graduating school from BYU, and I applied to an internship with the Ravens. The way that had to go is I had to apply first to the BYU communications department. That was what I got my degree in. And they only took 2 resumes from all of BYU that applied and sent it to the Ravens. And I got a call from BYU and they said, sorry, we didn't select you. Good luck with future endeavors. And I was like, okay. And then they called back the next day and they said the Baltimore Ravens wanted a 3rd application from BYU. And I was like, and so they called back and said, we chose you. And I'm like, great, just get me an interview and I'll convince them. And so I had an interview with Chad Steele and a few other people from the PR department, and was able to convince them to give me a training camp internship, and that blossomed into a year-long internship, and then another internship, and then finally a full-time job. And then I convinced them to let me start late for work, and then everything kind of went from there.
Rest is history. And here you are, still
Right.
in a completely different space,
That
still
was-
covering the team, all because of that.
2005.
internship.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
how about that? Hopefully I didn't botch your name there. Sitley. Hopefully I didn't totally botch that. Asmodeus, a.k.a. Richard, says, I'm with John. Let's get Bobby a wife. #Vault. There's a lot of live chat recruitment going on here, courtesy of the guy that's 10 feet in front of me, mixing it up. Richard Hibbert hits us with a bunch of different purple devil emojis, perhaps getting fired up on this Friday. And Joey H.
#Vault.
Not a fan, says Lamar, quote, "Aw, that's dope." Jackson, #Vault. Not a fan, looking for his second giveaway potential winner. I think he's already a winner from earlier on. See how he does. Robbie Pate.
Shout out to all the Trossets in the chats. #Vault.
Edwin Rice says LJ8 could be the only QB in history to get 10,000 yards. MJ Eid.
I'm so sick of watching these media shows give analysis on the MVP, then fail to give any context. Last year's stats didn't matter. Yeah, because Lamar went into San Francisco and whooped both MVP front runners. Well, but stats also did matter. The stat of 18 interceptions for Josh Allen disqualified him. And then nobody was having a historic season the way Lamar is this year. And so when you go head to head, and again, it's what I said earlier, it's MVP moments, especially down the stretch. Lamar is doing that in both years.
Let's see. Antoine writes, feels good to be a Ravens fan. #Vault. And Dreams, a.k.a. Queon.
Hoping KVN gets 12 sacks and OA gets double-digit sacks to end the season, and a Jackson 5 for Lamar to end the season with 44-4. #Vault. Meaning
Habitual line stepper says, flock all in accord. We can feel the vibes. Might even get a revenge tour on this Super Bowl run. Chargers, Bills, and Chiefs. #Vault. And Darlene Harris.
I love my Ravens. #Vault.
Richard just getting after it today. At Sarah, 31.9% of Lamar's runs are on scrambles.
Oh, dang.
#Vault. Richard
About a
diving
third of them.
into the calculus for you. Don C.
Merry Christmas, Bobby and Sarah. LOL. I love 89 Andrews. Noticed Baldy didn't break down Mark absolutely running out of gas seeing the end zone. He just laughed. Awesome game.
Appreciate you, Don. Happy New Year. Dream says, has anyone seen LJ's Essence interview? #Vault. There's a couple people that have asked me about this. I have yet to. Sarah, I didn't even know it existed. What about you?
I don't know. The only thing I've seen is Lamar doing a ranking of Gatorade flavors.
Okay.
I don't know where that came from, but no, I haven't seen anything from Essence, but we can definitely look for it.
Yeah, and Queon, if you have it, it sounds like you've seen it or know about it, just hit us up. Email BaltimoreRavensVault@gmail.com. Appreciate you, man. Captain Hard.
Excuse me. People know Lamar has helped Derrick, but it's the only reason they can use against Lamar. #Vault.
Ron says, can you imagine the team's motivation if Lamar's denied MV3? Scary. #Vault. And Liza.
Lamar is the greatest quarterback Petrino ever coached. Lamar's going to be the best quarterback most anybody's ever coached that have ever been near him.
And of course, Bobby, as you had earlier on in the slide, was quote tweeting Lamar's greatness once he broke the Michael Vick record. And Bobby coached him, as many know, during his Louisville days. And that was his first real introduction to a pro-style offense. And of course, Todd Monken just decided to keep that rolling last year when the Ravens hired him. Okay, I got myself a pronunciation here. Thank goodness. Bobby, it's pronounced like Italy, but with a C. Okay, so Sidley? Sidley. I was totally off. So thank you for clarifying that, Sidley. Thanks for the super chat. And you are entered in #Vault. Rodrigo.
Need the Super Bowl win, so LJ will go on Marlo's pod. #Vault.
That's right.
It would be funny if Lamar was on there with him.
That's going to be a heavily trafficked episode when or if that happens. MJ Eid says, or Eid or I'd said needed characters. #Vault. And Takashi.
MV3 carried the struggling team to start. #Vault.
Okay, so 58 super chats have come in. We are over to the 60-minute mark, which means we have arrived at quick hits and our prediction section for the AFC playoff picture games that have implications on that overall conference going into this weekend. I'm sure there'll be maybe 2 more last calls, but the second to last is right now. If you are interested in entering into today's free giveaway, that is a homage t-shirt of your choice at the link that can be found in the show notes. It's also as a pinned comment in the live chat right now. Simply throw in a super chat with the #Vault, and you will be eligible for today's giveaway. So,
Bobby,
yes.
I have some bad news.
Uh-oh.
But
I have something going on.
I have a potential solution.
To?
Okay, so you know how the software picks up the #Vault? I set it up, but I didn't hit the final button for it to pick up. So I noticed it when we came back. So when I'm in the software and you have to put in, you got to select, the background of it. You got to select the stream and then you have to put in #Vault, but then you have to hit collect. And I forgot to hit the collect tool until we started rereading the last super chats. So here's a solution, because now I only have 5 entries and there's a lot more people that gave a super chat with #Vault. It's going to require some major honor system stuff. Okay. Everybody that has a super chat, just do a regular non-super chat with the #Vault and you will be entered in.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, so that needed to be done pre-stream? Is that what you're saying?
Apparently. Yeah.
Okay. So you're getting denied, meaning it's denying you right now.
Well, no,
even with a refresh, will they get more?
If I do a refresh, it's going to lose the ones that were already entered.
Okay.
It's up to 8. It's up to 8 now. So everybody that has put in a #Vault in a super chat, you don't need to re-put in money. Just put in #Vault. See, they're already getting it. Eric Murphy, Tila, Chris, everybody's doing it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry, everybody.
Well, you'll have a few minutes. Again, we're a few minutes out from doing this. So if you gave us a super chat today, just give the hashtag normal comment, #Vault.
And we will at the end verify that you got a super chat with it.
We will.
Yeah.
Juicebox, Juicebox and Jersey Mike, you misspelled it. So do that again. #Vault. And let's get some predictions in. Sorry about that, guys. All good.
You don't need to apologize. That's on me.
We'll work our way around it. No worries. This is a big one. AFC playoff picture. Currently, Denver is the 7th seed. Cincinnati's on the outside looking in. In the hunt, they obviously the Bengals have to win out in order to have a chance, and then they need more help along the way, Sarah. So who you got? It is in Cincinnati.
Yeah. So I think the conventional wisdom is that the Bengals are on a pretty hot streak. They've been winning. And they're desperate and they need the win. But the Bengals, I can't remember what their exact record is against winning teams, but they've either lost like none or they've won none against playoff teams, or like something like 1, right? Like something very, very, very few. They've been going on a streak because they've been playing against non-winning teams, non-playoff teams. So because of that, and I wouldn't mind, as I mentioned yesterday, if the Bengals got in, because I think they could maybe do some damage against, people like the Bengals and or Chiefs. But I'm going to say that the Broncos pull it out. I mean, it means a lot to both of them. I know it's in Cincinnati, but Cincinnati just hasn't proven that they can beat playoff teams. And if they do, then I'll be proven wrong. But I'm going to go with Broncos on this one. What say you?
I'm probably going to go Cincinnati just because it's at home. And I think that while their defense has been much maligned, they will try to wreak havoc, especially with their talented defensive front of Trey Hendrickson and company, to knock Bo Nix off his spot. And I think the Bengals are not going to get in, as we discussed earlier in the week, because of everything that needs to happen in order for that to take place. But I do think that they'll make it interesting going into the regular season finale, and the NFL will be happy about that because it's Bengals Steelers week 18. So I'll take Cincinnati coming up this weekend. This one obviously is not maybe notable from a national perspective, but because this is clearly a two-man race for NFL MVP this year between Lamar and Josh, what he does the next couple of weeks against opponents that are not in the postseason will be noteworthy. Not that it's like a big needle moving opportunity, being that the Jets and the Patriots are having horrific seasons, but the Bills are at home and they will take on Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Sarah, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with Bills. But I think it could be because it's in division, even though it's the Jets. I could see it being closer than one might anticipate, a la Ravens Browns type of thing. So I'm going to take Bills, but I just think it might be closer than many might think.
I would think so as well, just like last week, right? The Patriots, they have to see them again. And this is in division, to your point, AFC East. You're playing for pride if you're the Jets, or if you're Aaron Rodgers, you're playing to essentially prove that, hey, I can be a bridge quarterback for you guys if you want to have me back, moving forward. And I still have something to prove. So I think this is going to be a good game in terms of the closeness of it. But I'll take Buffalo, and I don't see Josh really having a couple opportunities here these next 2 weeks to really separate himself from Lamar based on the way that Lamar is playing, and especially given some of the challenges that you can have with in-division opponents. But I will take the Bills at home. You threw this in.
I just want to throw this in here because I thought Spencer Schultz was like so FanDuel put out a tweet that said, Houston, we have a problem. And it says the Texans just aren't ready for the big stage. The Texans are 1-5 against teams currently in the playoffs. So Spencer Schultz retweets that. He says, that's crazy. Which of those 5 playoff teams did they beat? And it indeed was the Bills, which is just cooking the Bills on that one. And obviously hurts the MVP argument that, he has the better record. It's like, well, strength of schedule means something for sure.
Sure.
And then in the head-to-head game, Ravens beat the Bills. And then in the common opponents, look what the Ravens did to the Texans versus the Texans beating the Bills.
Sure. A couple other games as well with, again, AFC implications. Right now, if the postseason began today, the Chargers would line up in the wild card weekend in Baltimore. It'd be a 6 versus 3 seed matchup. Ravens, Chargers. LA has the Patriots. It's in New England. Who you got, partner?
Yeah, I'm going Chargers. I think Chargers are, of course, still making sure that they're in the playoffs, and I also think they're just the better team. Where did you say it was?
This is in New England.
It's in New England. So that helps them. But, yeah, no, it's Chargers. I think Jim Harbaugh, that whole crew, I think they're going to make it in the playoffs, and I think they'll continue what they've started against the Patriots.
A lot of smoke right now out there about potentially, after one and done, maybe leaving Gerard Mayo and firing him after one season, and maybe, just maybe, bringing in a former Patriot who's probably the hottest name on the market right now when it comes to head coach availability,
Vrabel?
Mike Vrabel. I would not be surprised if Robert Kraft hires Mike Vrabel in just a few short weeks when the hiring cycle officially begins. I'll take the Chargers on the road in New England. And then, of course, I think we both know where we're going on this one. The Colts travel to the Meadowlands. It's Indianapolis Giants coming up this weekend. The Colts need a little bit of help, Sarah, and they have to obviously win out if they want to find themselves squarely involved as a wild card team. I'll take them this weekend. I'd imagine you'd be the same.
Yeah, but remember, the Bengals, in order to get in, they needed the Colts and Chargers to lose at least one of their last 2 games. this is not the one that I would be predicting for that. Giants are. We stuck the fork in the Giants a long time ago. I don't even know that they're playing. I mean, poor Malik Neighbors, but as a rookie, having to come to that. But yeah, I'm taking the Colts.
God bless him, man. He's got a lot of talent, but that team is going nowhere fast, and I don't see how John Mara, who is the owner, can go away from or can stick to his guns and keep the current general manager and head coach in place. That's Joe Shane and Brian Dable. I just don't see how you could possibly do that with very, very little to hang your hat on coming off this past season. I think you got to completely rebuild and maybe have an opportunity to bring in Shedeur Sanders if that's the quarterback of their choosing. And one final game, Miami is in Cleveland. Of course, the Dolphins have playoff hopes. They're on the outside looking in right now as one of those 3 teams that are inside, I should say, in the hunt. And we know Cleveland's probably going to be starting Dorian Thompson-Robinson. They are in dismay right now. I'll go Dolphins on the road. What say you?
Yeah, all of these seem like easier games to predict. I think most of the marquee matchups are already done with. I would like the Browns to win only because if they have some juice to want to upset people, you know what I mean? Play spoiler. Sometimes you can revel in that role and just have fun spoiling people's end of seasons, even though you got nothing to play for. If they have any of that juice left in them, I want it to be completely used on the Dolphins rather than have any hope of doing it against the Ravens, right? As they did once already this year. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that Dorian is going to pull off the upset. And so, yeah, I'm going with you on the Dolphins.
And finally,
there's going to be one upset among all these, right? We got to be wrong somewhere.
There could be, but man, and I'm happy to stick my neck out most times, as you know, but I just don't see if there were to be one. I guess it would be Cleveland, to your point, because of their defense. But yeah, I don't know. With Myles Garrett making those comments about essentially putting the organization in a position where, I mean, he basically said recently that he wants to be traded. He's not down for another rebuild.
Right.
And that's what it feels like it's heading towards in Cleveland, with Deshaun Watson's future, of course, totally up in the air.
And can you blame him?
No.
Look at all these prime years where he's defensive player of the year and for what?
Yeah, for sure.
He's gonna be, I don't know. He doesn't want he sees he can see the opportunity Kyle Van Noy has, right? He's I want to get to that before I'm in my, I don't know how old he is right now, but he wants
Myles
to get to it before.
Oh gosh, what's Myles? He's still in his 20s. I mean, this dude's squarely in his prime. Let's see how old he is. I'd be curious. He and TJ Watt are just exceptional. He is 28. Yeah. Myles Garrett's 28.
But he doesn't want to wait till his 30s to try to find that.
He'll turn 29 2 days from now. Actually, one day before you do.
Oh, see, look at all these Capricorns suddenly
a lot of
coming out of the woodwork here.
A lot of them. Don't tell LeBron, because he claimed that the NFL, he enjoys it, but Christmas Day is still the NBA's. I don't know, man. LeBron, these numbers don't exactly suggest that. And this season has been a disaster for the association when it comes to viewership. And that reflected, of course, that also carried through on Christmas Day. Ari taking a look at viewership numbers from the NFL compared to the NBA. And while there were more games to choose from across the NBA, nobody, not one specific game, got anywhere close to what the 2 games on Netflix did. 24.1 million tuned in to Chiefs Steelers, 24.3 Ravens Texans. So pretty darn consistent.
Was the NBA missing some of their stars, Bobby? It's not obviously the NFL is king. We know that. But I mean,
the
my
NBA
goodness.
the NBA is having an image crisis right now, which is why they've gone to these in-season tournament types of flavors to try to incentivize their stars to play and play as often as they possibly can. And they're in trouble right now. I mean, viewership is tanking. And I'm a fan of the NBA. I enjoy it. I know when you're in the Baltimore area, and the fact that, the Wizards are a total joke and have been for over a decade, or at least it feels like that. I know when Paul Pierce was there, they had a little bit of some success there towards the end of his career, but it's it's tough times right now for the NBA. And when you have that amount of games, the NFL is always going to be king in this country. I think solely based on the sense of urgency that comes with 17 games, even though that's probably going to be increased at some point. But these numbers, just for the audio only audience, NBA wise, 7.7 million, which is no surprise, led the way for their slate of games, which was Lakers Warriors, which was LeBron versus Steph. And of course, everybody's going to be watching that one. But aside from that, I mean, the late game had 3.8 million, Nuggets Suns, 4.3 for T-Wolves and Mavs, 5.1 Celtics 76ers. That's a big matchup. Knicks and Spurs, 4.9. So an average viewership of 5.25 million. And of course, just 2 games to choose from for the NFL. So of course that's going to be bigger.
Yeah.
But 24.2 million on average. Whew, man.
I'll just say this, Bobby, for me, the biggest reason why I don't check in on the NBA anymore is because all my spare time is sucked into, covering the Ravens at an insane in-depth rate, right? And the NFL and all that. But put that aside. It is so hard to follow 80 plus games and have any sort of like real weight to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, think about the weight of every single game in the NFL when you only have 17 games. There's just no weight to it. Then on top of it, there's too many super teams in the NBA. So it's like, okay, well, get back to me when the predictable guys are going to make it. Whereas in the NFL, you have so much parity. Even when we're in the middle of this Chiefs era where they've won back-to-back Super Bowl trophies, even with that, you still get a feeling that the Ravens or Bills or Lions or it's still like anything can happen on one single day, right? On one single day. So even when you get to the playoffs for the NBA and it's the predictable guys that get there, well, now you got to play it out of 7. And so it's just like, there's just not like the urgency, the weight, the anticipation. It's just not there. It's just not there. So it's hard to follow it. Honestly.
Think about this too. Both games, Christmas Day for the NFL side of things, blowouts. And yet they dominated. And there's just not a lot of defense being played across the league right now in the NBA. And there's a lot that's going against them. And you speak of, I mentioned the word, image crisis. LeBron's probably not going to be around in the league in another year or two. And he has carried the torch for 20 years. What will this league look like without him? What will this league look like without Steph? You'd like to think that there's going to be a replenishment of talent, but those are 2 all-time greats that will be really, really hard to replicate if you're a Luka Doncic, if you're a, Kevin Durant is not going to be playing for all that much longer. These young stars, the Anthony Edwards of the world, are they going to be able to carry that torch when it's passed? I have my doubts about that, but we'll see. Finishing up here with an awesome screenshot that Spencer Schultz, I believe, grabbed, or this was from
I grabbed
HBO.
it from.
Okay.
Yeah, it's from Hard Knocks, and the screen grab I think was from Baltimore Banner. Spencer Schultz did grab the video, but we can't play it for copyright reasons. But it's too bad because the best Hard Knocks episode to date was sandwiched in between the Steelers and the Christmas Day Texans game. So we really didn't have a chance to cover it. But I just want to make a few points here in the quick hits. First off, watching John Harbaugh work out at his age was pretty impressive. You see him with his, working his forearms and that on this right here. But there was one point, Bobby, where he was doing weighted pull-ups. He had a chain with
Chains
weights on him.
Yep.
Yes. And he is just doing all these pull-ups. It's like, okay, John, remind me how old he is. Let me look up John Hart. He's got to be in his late 60s.
He's 62, I believe.
Oh, early 60s. My bad, John. I'm giving extra years to everybody.
Yep.
Yeah, 62. You're right.
Ahead of your birthday.
Yeah.
Don't be doing that to yourself.
Yeah. Believe me, my kids give me extra years all the time. So it was pretty cool to see that. Then just a couple of other things, which I'm sure you've seen on social media. Zay Flowers trolling Patrick Queen when the game was out of hand. And he's walking just like strutting in place and just stops right in front of Queen. And he's got a big quintessential Zay Flowers smile beaming And Patrick Queen has his hands on his hips with his head down, and he can see the movement to the corner of his eye. Then he looks up and looks at Zay. And Zay just smiles even more and trolls him even harder. And I was like, oh, like, you can't script that. Like, that is going to be a part of the highlight reels from now until forever. When you hear things like, we don't like them and we sure as heck don't like or they don't like us and we sure as heck don't like them. And like the breaking of Ben Roethlisberger's nose and Terrell Suggs and his thigh catch interception. Like, it's going to be Zay Flowers trolling his former teammate turned Steeler. It was amazing watching that. And then just Zay was like already highlighted that week because he was talking about how you're not a Raven until you beat the Steelers. So we got that. A couple of things that were low key on there, Bobby, that hasn't gotten as much attention is in the Ravens defensive meetings. John Harbaugh was a staple in there. So you know where his focus has been, trying to help turn that unit around. Yep. And then finally, there was a slide that Mike Tomlin had up on his team meeting, and the slide had a black background with gold words that said, "Prepare to be a part of history." And he showed some of the historic moments on the Steelers side, and it was like, oh, they were part of history, all right, especially Patrick Queen and them getting the brakes beat off of them. So that was a fun AFC North Hard Knocks episode to watch, but unfortunately, we only could relegate it to some quick hits because so much has been happening.
I'll just mention this too, for what it's worth. Harbaugh was not doing that for show. I randomly was in an F-45 class at one point a couple years ago with he and his wife, and they are in incredible shape, the two of them. They were rolling in that class. So he is, it's not just for the cameras. This is what he lives. He lives like that. Let's get to some patrons here. Patrick York and Sarah Kendall, thank you both for believing in what we're building. We appreciate you for being valued members of the Vault Patreon community, and you literally were the first two to sign up. So we are back at the initial start. Justin just got his first, and Gordon just got his first shout out yesterday, and now we reset things and go all the way to the start. So Patrick and Sarah, thank you for your continued support of the channel. If you guys are interested in doing so as well, this goes directly towards our daily efforts to bring you Ravens content year round. And you can visit patreon.com/RavensVault podcasts, which is in the show notes if you'd like to learn more and consider potentially supporting us this football season as we get ready for the postseason, which is just a couple weeks away. We got to get to some more Super Chats, partner, before we pick a winner today. Randomly pick a winner. Let's see. Chris says, if I don't win, it's rigged. #Vault. Don't worry. We will make sure this is as fair as possible today, Chris.
No, I'm pretty sure Chris said that last week too. Somebody else did.
Which is superstitious then. I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Liza.
I will take it further. Lamar is the greatest quarterback to ever play for the University of Louisville over Johnny Unitas.
12K Tay says the Steelers, Bills, Chiefs will be the path to the Super Bowl. SBC, Super Bowl champs. #Vault. Well said there.
That would be a road similar to the Ravens 2012, where they had to get through juggernauts, including Manning, and Brady, and then Kaepernick at the time was a sensation.
Yep.
So and Drew Luck. Drew Luck was like this new guy on the block that was, skyrocketing at the time. So it was quite the gauntlet.
They've had a couple gauntlets so far this year. 3 games in 11 days most recently, and then the stretch right out of the gate. Chiefs, Cowboys, Bengals. I mean, Vegas was in the initial start, but you didn't see that as a part of the gauntlet. But it was difficult. And Bills within the first 5 or 6 weeks. Richard Hibbert says #Vault. Don C.
Bobby, why was Sarah trusted with technology? Laughing emoji. I sure did screw up today.
Just a simple little, when you multitask, guys, life gets hard when you multitask for a living. And that's exactly what we do. Jang says, is it too early to look into flights and hotels to NOLA? #Vault. I'll tell you this, Jang.
Sure, you've already done that. Yeah.
I booked mine for purposes that somewhat have to do with the team. But, Sarah and I worked our first Radio Row experience last year in Vegas, and I was just thrilled with how everything went that I would love to do that again. And so I have Southwest flights that are currently booked February 2nd to the 9th, or 3rd to the 9th And they were only, from BWI and Enola, they were only 350, 360 round trip. So I would look into that if I were you, Jen, because then you can always just convert them into points if it's through Southwest. I'm not sure where you live, but that
She's
might
in
be
Utah.
something that you want to look into.
She's
Utah, right?
currently in the Philippines, but she lives in Utah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Duh. Yeah, that's right. Quincy Foreman.
I love how the National take about Kyle as a linebacker and not a great safety. #Vault.
Hey guys, just a reminder too, if you're one of the 79 folks that have been generous enough to hit us with a super chat today, we're doing an honor system giveaway just because of a slight little glitch on the back end. So if you could use the #Vault right now in a non-super chat comment, if you haven't already done so, we're going to go the honor system. We'll make sure to double check that, even though it will be the honor system. We still have a way of checking it, obviously.
Oh, I've already noticed some of the super chatters are like, some of y'all are lying. Like they will be kept in check. They're
We'll be
only
ready.
people that got a super chat will win it. Yeah.
We're going to check. Yeah. It's easy to check. Eric Murphy says, just for good measure. Measure sure. #Vault. Patrick RN.
Happy New Year, Bobby and you got BB and Sarah E. 3 wins in 11 days. Go Ravens, and 3 losses in 11 days. Go Steelers. Defense. Oh yes, let's go Baltimore.
Think about that too from the other side. 3 games in 11 days comes with obviously a jam-packed schedule. The coping process gets condensed into 11 days rather than 3 weeks when you lose. And the celebration process gets condensed as well. Like it goes both ways. That's got to be tricky in Pittsburgh land. Not a Fan says, if Josh goes off against the Jets, watch the media reaction be the complete opposite of Lamar Jackson 5 against the Giants. #Vault. Eric Hill.
Let's go A-Rod. He knows Lamar is the MVP. Beat the Bills. #Vault.
Probably referring to Aaron Rodgers.
I
Chaos
did
One
that, by the
reigns.
way.
I'm sorry?
I finished the Enigma, the Netflix documentary on Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, you can whip through it. There's 3 episodes.
Yeah, it's just 3.
Chaos One reigns writes, Broncos and Jets. Crazy, I know. Spoilers. #Vault. Okay, so he's taking Denver and the New York Jets. Okay. Eileen Nolan.
#Vault 14, definitely player of the year.
Referring to Kyle Hamilton. Chris says Torres still owes us a 54-yard field goal. #Vault. Not sure what that's referring to. Torres has got to kick a 54-yard field goal. If that's the case, I definitely want to be on hand for that. Come on, Torres. Show us what you got. Eileen Nolan.
8 and 22 in the tunnel, and their Santa suit was great. That was great.
That's definitely a piece of photography that's going to be like in Ravens lore for a long, long time. Isaiah, especially if they get to where they want to go with those 2 guys. Isaiah writes, LeBron and Steph are gold, but the NBA should shorten the amount of games. I totally agree. Quincy Foreman.
Jordan Stout taking over kickoffs is a move I wish the Ravens would have made sooner. I think you meant. I have to give Malik his flowers for stepping up. #Vault in the back half of the season. Whew.
That was a tough one. Well done there, though. I wouldn't have got the I have to give Malik his flowers, so good stuff. Joe Jenkins writes, the Wizards used to be the Baltimore Bullets. And Captain Hard.
The funniest is the holes hard knocks. #Vault.
Justin Drinkwalter says, Ravens about to roll the Chargers, Bills, and Chiefs en route to a blowout over Detroit in the big one. #Vault. I'm feeling lucky. Justin, I think Detroit's going to be lucky to get there with all the injuries that they've had, but that's just me. Olu.
All right, let's get it. #Vault.
D-Rod, again, aren't we supposed to do Lamar's cologne as well? We did. You got to go back to Monday?
Monday.
Monday. Monday's episode, D-Rod. Sarah gave a full and thorough, I might add.
Oh, is he meaning the hashtag to give away the cologne?
Yes, he is. Thank you, D-Rod.
We'll have to do that next week. Here it is right here.
Thank you, D-Rod. Yes.
It's so backwards in this.
No, you're good. Yeah. Yep. We haven't forgotten. Sarah's got it right there. Antoine, #Vault. Love the show. Listening at my job right now. And AD.
Marlo's Raven for life. Slim no cap.
82 super chats today, guys. You guys are incredible. You've been incredible all week long. Please like the video if you enjoyed today's show. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And hit that notification bell so you can be notified of when we're dropping our daily live content. It is time to randomly pick a winner. As always, this is something that we're going to continue through the postseason with homage. It's typically T-shirt giveaway Wednesdays, but for obvious reasons this week, with Christmas being on Wednesday, we shifted it to Friday, so the next one will be next Wednesday. Let's get it, partner.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, draw.
And I have the super chats up. We will properly
verify.
double check. Yep. Pretty much every single person on here.
Purple and black. Now I already know. Purple and black had a few.
All right, let's see.
Woohoo!
Purple and black, congratulations. Partner, if you could give him the instructions for what we need from him as I go find his.
Yes, purple and black. What you need to do is email us at BaltimoreRavensVault@gmail.com. You need to send us the link to the t-shirt that you would like to have sent to you. You need to send us the size that you would like. You need to send us verification that you have liked this video and that you have subscribed. Oh, and we need your mailing address. Yeah, shipping address for where you would like the t-shirt sent. So those are the 5 things that you need to have. Your shipping address, the link to the shirt, the size of the shirt, verification that you liked the video, and that you had it. Well, we already know you had a super chat. So just those 4 things.
And how fitting on a day where she made basically a 10-second cameo to turn on the Christmas tree that was behind me. Mom's super chat from Purple and Black ends up becoming the winner. How about it? Did you hear that, Mom? Look, guys, it is tight quarters here. I'm in Albany, New York. I just want to say thanks to everybody for their patience throughout the show, including my co-host. I was very distracted at times for obvious reasons. I'm the oldest of 4. There's siblings running around everywhere. Tilly is barking. My mom's coming down to turn on the tree over my right shoulder. You can hear somebody speaking in the next room over, even if they're not right next to you. And TJ's at his co-work space 10 feet from me. So, partner, thank you for your patience. This is classic holiday season living here in upstate New York in the house that we grew up at. And I think everybody's realizing, if they haven't already, why I decided to stay home so we could tend to our business on Christmas Day.
Hey, I like it when you're up there because you're just now our households can match, like the craziness and loudness of our households match. Because I've got, we've got similar families. You're one of 4. I've got 4. And the parents in the house, there's always something going on and always something needing something.
Oh man, unbelievable. Now wait a second, Purple and Black. Purple and Black I think he might be in the Christmas spirit. I think this is he. I'm not sure if it's he or she. Purple and Black is saying, give it to Chris, please. One of our longtime subscribers, most loyal subscribers. If that's the case, Chris, you know the instructions that you just heard from Sarah. Oh, that's awesome. This is cool. This is really cool.
Look at the spirit of giving here at Christmas time.
Yeah, for sure. So Chris, just to rip off again, all this information can be found in the ticker that you're seeing right here, or maybe actually, no, it can't. Here's what you need to do. Hit us with a shipping address. Hit us with your t-shirt size. We know that you're loyal, but if you could just give us a screenshot that you liked and subscribe to the video. And anything else, partner? I think that's
BaltimoreRavensVault@gmail.com.
Yes. The email is BaltimoreRavensVault@gmail.com. And that's always a reminder for everyone that if you just want to email us in general, like we owe Lauren Wunderlich an email about advertising options for January, which she reached out to us about earlier this week. You can always do so at BaltimoreRavensVault@gmail.com. So Purple and Black, salute to you, man. That's cool.
Yeah, that was very cool. And Darlene already emailed us 11 minutes ago, linking us to the Essence interview that people asked us about.
Cool. Very cool. Thanks, Darlene. Appreciate that. And James Lee Wiley is heading us out here. Oh my gosh, 143. James Lee Wiley says to watch all of Hard Knocks on Paramount Plus. #Vault. Enjoy it, man. Enjoy it. It's some big time production. And to Sarah's point, it's a dang shame that the most entertaining one was smack dab in the middle of not only a game and the eve of a game, but happens to be Christmas Eve. So yeah, Purple and Black, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you. That's super cool. Chris, enjoy it. We look forward to hearing from you. And partner, awesome week. Your birthday is coming up on Monday, so we look forward to celebrating. You and I will talk about programming and whatnot coming up next week. New Year's Eve is Tuesday. Obviously, New Year's Day is Wednesday, so it might be just a little bit funky with various things that we have going on. But at the very least, we will be live on Monday at noon Eastern. So look forward to that. I look forward to a weekend of just straight up football that doesn't necessarily require us to be in grind mode.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, I still need to talk to you about Monday. I think I'll be here. I think we're going to be celebrating Sunday night.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll
You know how we do.
Yeah.
You
Unless
do
something
your thing.
changes. Unless something changes, we should be good.
You do your thing. A special shout out, by the way, and Greg from Long Beach hitting us with a nice little love you guys. Happy holidays. Vice versa. Greg, same back to you. Have an awesome new year. We just want to continue to thank Homage. We just re-upped with them, as we've told you probably a couple times now. And we're looking forward to doing this for the next several Wednesdays into the postseason. So the next one will be Wednesday, and we will be ready to go then. So check them out if you haven't already done so. Homage.com. We have a specific, unique URL. It's homage.com/Sarah and Bobby. You can find that in the pinned comment live chat. You can find it in the top of the show notes as well. Partner, have an awesome weekend. We will catch up soon. Thanks to all of you for dropping by. Please like the video on your way out. Captain Hard just does not want us to go. He wants a 2-hour show. Why not? Captain Hard writes, last one, best week is when the Ravens don't play. You can enjoy the games. And it is a lot of fun when you can do exactly that. So enjoy your weekends. Partner, appreciate you as always. For Sarah Ellison, I'm Bobby Trossett signing off from this Friday Ravens Lunch Hour live stream, which was brought to you by our friends at Homage. Enjoy your non-Ravens weekends, and we will catch up with you on Monday for Sarah's birthday. Appreciate you guys. And as always, thanks for spending some time with us here inside the vault.